Holy two-piece and a biscuit, Batman. This is the brand new General Tso's Nightmare from Kidrobot, just in, and there can only be one. I am TJ. This is GoFigureNews.com, and today we're opening something pretty damn special. We are premiering the Kidrobot figure of the season. This is Frank Kozik's latest and greatest. And I have to say right off that the packaging is pretty damn special. This is something that I didn't expect to be on my doorstep so soon. It quotes Sun Tzu by saying, "In the eternal struggle of fried chicken, there can only be one victor." Holy Colonel Sanders. So, this is designed with 100% real chicken from our friends out at Kidrobot in the Mountain Time Zone. So now I have to figure out how to get inside the mind of the big old rooster. Now, for all you fetishists of fast food out there in the world, you might be saying, what in the world? As you should be. Dark meat, light meat, or vegetarian, vegan, like yours truly. Now, one thing to mention about the presentation here is this is an immediate impact. It's not, there's no timeouts. This is the whole hog right immediately as soon as you see it, all in your face, all at one time. Now, I am just about to take a trip to Marfa out in the middle of the desert, so to get this just before I go is an incredible send-off. You're going to have to watch for this figure on kidrobot.com, because it shall be released into the world on April the 29th. So stay tuned, because they are having a huge opening celebration with Mr. Kozik in place for a signing in Glendale, California. So there'll be more information I will throw up here, and if you are in that area, you will be one of the first to be in line to get an autographed copy of this. Okay, so I think I figured this out. You just have to loosen it a little bit on the back, and then the top pops out. And voila, you have this portion, which is sort of the outer bucket shell. And then inside are all the goodies, which are individually wrapped. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is the official regular figure, and there is also a special Chase black variant. Now, I believe the way that Kidrobot is doing this is, I don't think they're selling the black version. It's black and gold. Individually, I think you get lucky if you receive the black version. So I love the way it just says General Tso's Nightmare here. It is impeccable a presentation. As I'm taking it in, I'm going to show you the back, because obviously the back has a freaky, crazy design. I think what this is potentially implying, besides for being the all-seeing eye, it's also the chicken that you get in any fast food restaurant. You don't really know where it is, you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know what direction it came from, but oftentimes it is something of the unknown. It might not necessarily be the farm-raised variety, if you will. So I'm going to pull out the kernel here, or the general, as they call it. And here he comes out of his plastic, and then his drumstick has a separate piece of plastic protecting it. And I'm going to take that off. So I will pull him aside so you can take a look at him. Absolutely, positively brilliant white, stark, flat, matte white, in this incredible outfit that might look really familiar to many. Of course, Colonel Sanders is sort of a staple of the American idiom and diet. Let's see if are there any articulation. There is articulation in the hand here. I don't think there's articulation in this hand. It's he's got this arm outstretched to hold another one of the accessories. Now you got to make sure that the surface is flat because he does have a slight front tip here. So make sure that he's on his feet and that you have a flat surface. Now on the bottom it reads Kozik and Kidrobot. Now, one thing to mention is the body and the legs are all one piece. The feet it's all one solid piece. There is no separation between the two legs. I'll show you the back so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about here. I like the folds in the fabric. I think they've done a really good job making him look like a handsome general colonel. Very discreet, but also very skeletal. His face is gray and moldy, a golden moldy oldie, and he's got these cool sort of Ray-Ban sort of glasses, and then a wonderful sort of toothy smile. You will notice nowadays there seems to be several figures out there that have this sort of dead effect, the zombie nightmare General So, let's call it. This is the headless general. Now, General So comes with a secondary head sculpt. It is pretty much the same sculpt, but it is a reduced size. As you can see, voila, here is General So's nightmare. Small and large. Now my thought is the smaller head is the one that's going to go on. Maybe he actually holds this because there's a sculpt on the back where he can do so. Yes, in fact, he can hold his own head in his hands. This figure is a ton of fun and a ton of pun, if you know what I mean. Let's see here. There is a bucket. Which reads FL, and inside, oh, this is really interesting and kind of gruesome. There's a skull and some bones in this bucket, and they are all the color of this chicken here, and it's sculpted such that you can fit it right in his arm here. It's right in the crook of his arm. That is really cool, the way that they made that. Look at that piece. I'm going to give you a little bit of a profile that way, profile this way. And again, you can see inside, the bottom's just white. So it almost repeats the bucket for the presentation. Really, really, really like this. I like the fact that they've got this very sort of Southern style, old-fashioned, turn of the century tie, and this double-breasted pun on double-breasted suit that the colonel would ordinarily wear. And let's also check out what is in here. I think the puns continue. So the chicken leg hand can be removed to make way for another hand, and I'll place that in here for you. And it basically has a leg, another leg. Instead of this, it has this. Oh, one thing also to point out about this chicken leg is it has a bite out of it, which is kind of cool. The way that they've managed to look at that detail right there and paint the inside a different color than the fried coating side. I'm just loving this sort of coloration of the figure. I'm going to put the bucket in his other arm here. This is, you know, if you're a fan of, say, horror films, horror figures, this one fits perfectly stage left of all of that, and I'm really excited about it. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, he comes with a chicken head. So check this out. Very nicely colored in this sort of almost the same color here, but just a little bit more orange in the tint for the feathers. There's the bright yellow beak, the bright eyes, and of course this this wonderful red representing parts of this sort of king-size cock, let's just call him. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. There is, because the head is removable, a little bit of articulation right to left, so you can, you know, kind of set that up however you'd like. I would be careful with it because of obviously paint transfer or anything. Even though it's well dry, there's still something about this pure white. You want to keep it white. So here is the profile. This is classic Kozik right here. I absolutely positively am in love with this figure instantly. Obviously, it has almost an intensely wry, almost political flavor to it. Of course, I've been a vegetarian since I don't even remember when, let's say the mid-80s. Now, this is probably going to be one of the biggest hits for Kidrobot. They worked with Big Shot Toy Works for this particular set. This piece brings up sort of a tongue-in-cheek way of applying that message, and I really, really enjoy that particular message. So we're going to take out his head, so we'll put in this bucket so you can see what he looks like holding the bucket. And this here, I'm going to pull off this hand and transfer it to this hand. And here you have General So's Nightmare.